Well, hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Marketing and Personalization 101. We have with us an awesome panel. Could be the best panel of the day, according to all of us. Maybe we'll start off with a little bit quick little introduction. Stephen, do you want to go first? Just tell us a little about yourself.
Sure. My name is Stephen Vigilante. I head up growth and business development at OLIPOP, which is a better-for-you soda brand based here in LA.
Excellent.
Hi, I just almost ate that microphone. Hi, I'm Cheryl Mills-Knight. I'm SVP of Brand and Culture at Kendra Scott Jewelry Brand out of Austin, Texas.
Hey, I'm Jarrett McGovern, Chief Creative Officer and co-founder of Rise Brewing Co. And we do nitro cold brew coffee, oat milk, and all of our products are organic.
Hello, I'm Sarah Zurell, the Chief Marketing Officer of Chinese Laundry Shoes.
Wonderful. We're going to get right into it because we only have a half hour and we all like to speak and we have a lot to go over here. So, just first, let's just get right into it. First question is, you guys, the brands have been developed. We have beauty, we have fashion, we have beverage here on the stage. But one thing doesn't change, and it's getting your brand out there. And I've got to imagine over the past 3 years, things have changed a little bit. So maybe just talk a little bit about, how did you go and pivot with, not to throw that term always out there, but how did you go and just pivot the marketing plan so that you can still personalize to get in touch with the person you're trying to reach out to, but with a whole nother way of doing it? Stephen, maybe you can just talk a little bit about your social media activity.
Yeah, I'll take a stab. So we are sold primarily in retail. We're nationwide at Whole Foods, Sprouts, Kroger, Target, Walmart. And as a better-for-you beverage, you have to appeal to the Whole Foods audience kind of first, because they're the first major retailer to carry us. And then this year we transitioned to Target and Walmart. And so changing literally everything you're doing because you're reaching a completely different audience and thinking about where that customer is. And I think a lot of brands actually stumble making that transition from Whole Foods and Sprouts shoppers to Target and Walmart shoppers because they're so different. They read different things. They listen to different podcasts. And so going very deep, we use social media and the DMs a lot to just ask our customers random questions about what podcasts they listen to, what TV shows they watch, and try to meet them where they are as opposed to kind of not evolving as the brand evolves and as the retail strategy evolves.
Yeah, that's great. And earlier we were talking about just your culture is everything at your brand. And Cheryl, we'll get to you in a second because I know with Kendra Scott, that's what it's all about. So how do you go from your scaling from some regional grocery stores to getting into Walmart and still stay within those core values that the brand has to reach out to the people in ways that they're going to appreciate, that still fall within your culture that you're trying to get across? And so maybe you can tell us a little bit about that, and then Cheryl, we'll go right to you because that's what your brand's all about as per our conversations.
Yeah, we're our product and our formula is really rooted in science. We did clinical trials on the product last year to prove the efficacy for what our ingredients do for your gut health, and that kind of, I would say, is the root of our culture, is that everyone cares about the science and everyone talks about it very frequently. And so we, as we've scaled, want to make sure as we're hiring people, we're bringing on people who kind of live those values and really understand what the brand is about, and they don't just want to work at a brand because it's growing quickly and is popular on social media, but actually understands the fundamentals behind the product and the business. And so we have a very rigorous hiring process. I definitely wouldn't get a job here today, but that's part of the magic, is maintaining that as you scale and making sure everybody's bought in for the right reasons.
Great. Cheryl, do you want to talk a little bit about what you guys did to, brick and mortar was basically shutting down. You're starting to reopen and at quite a scale. Maybe talk a little bit about how you still managed to grow the brand during this time. How did you reach out to the people?
So at Kendra Scott, we consider our brand and our culture is our brand. We are a values-driven business based on family, fashion, and philanthropy. with a very experiential retail experience that we really love. And we love our customers, and we love the touch and feel of jewelry, especially with stones. It was really difficult for us to have to shutter our stores, 120 at the time, during the pandemic. And so we leaned into technology like everyone had to, because not just because we had to, but because we wanted to stay connected to her. So a couple of things we fast-tracked. We were not doing buy online, ship to store, or buy online, pick up in store. That became the number one thing that we needed to get, because we needed to get the product to she, him, and they, wherever they were. Again, really important to what you were just mentioning. But I think the other part of us was, as a values-driven brand, a group of individuals that really care about being high quality service and really showing up and also engaging in our community, we turned everything like our Kendra Gives Back events into online virtual experiences. Or, for instance, we had our stylist turn into virtual styling appointments, and engaging with our customers on a one-on-one basis. Again, creating an infrastructure using our e-com site to do that. But again, we've never necessarily unlocked the code of that e-com experience until we had to bridge the gap and connect in a really powerful way, bringing our core values to life and showing up for her during that interesting time.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Similar kind of story to us, a smaller scale, but to quote Kobe Bryant, as we're here in Los Angeles, everything negative, all the pressures, all the challenges are an opportunity for me to rise. And that's not just a product plug for us. We're all going through tough times, whether it was COVID, whether it's the post-COVID world. To throw another quote out there, Art of War, the first rule of Art of War to ensure victory is to know when to fight and to know when not to fight. And for us, we had to close down all of our brick and mortar stores during COVID. And what we found is that we could chase the customers that we had online. And so since the post-COVID world, we've been spending a lot more of our resources online, trying to figure out how on TikTok or Instagram to drive people to our website and start buying there, and then trying to grow our subscription base.
Great. And last but not least,
Yeah, so Chinese Laundry has been around for 50 years. It's a legacy company. We actually have 4 brands in total, and they kind of cannibalize each other, and we're really focused on wholesale. But with the pandemic, we had to quickly pivot, love a good pivot, to really being able to provide reliable drop ship, both to our retailers, and then that kind of changed the way that our CEO was thinking about direct to consumer, which wasn't an area that had been a focus in the past. So I actually joined the company in March, so I'm fresh, and I was brought in to build really clear brand identity guidelines for each of the 4 brands and really grow our direct to consumer business. So I'm in the SOG of doing really simple things like moving to Shopify and building up our email capture so that we can personalize, and really finding new ways for us to be able to get data on individuals that they're volunteering ethically, ethical data, of course, so that we can retarget them in a more thoughtful way and really meet the customer where they are, which hasn't been a focus of the company in the past, but something that we were forced to do during the pandemic.
great. And so I guess this question's for everybody on here. I mean, social media plays such a big part of everybody's marketing roles, getting the, I don't know if it's product samples out in front of people, depends on the product you're talking about, or just spreading the word. We talked about privately, we talked about micro influencers versus large influencers versus paid influencers. Just to throw this out there, during PIMS, my company, PIMS, we exploded during the pandemic. Everybody wanted to reach out to every influencer out there because there was no brick and mortar, there was nothing for anybody to get out there. So they started really personalizing every send out, whether it was a beauty brand that was shade matching for the recipient, whether it was, size matches for a piece of clothing, or, hey, what's your favorite shoe and what's your style, what's your size, and sending actual samples out to people. Like, how did that work into your play? Like, instead of you're just reaching out on Instagram or on TikTok, how are you actually deciding who you're reaching out to? What's the strategy behind that? Anybody can go first. Sarah.
I don't normally endorse platforms, but I'm going to right now because I think it would be helpful to you guys. There's a platform called Grim that's really a powerful driver to be able to manage your influencer marketing, and it provides analytics based on those influencers so that you can kind of, instead of having to weigh, like, is this person getting engagement? Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? It kind of gives you actual hard data, which is my favorite. I love data. And so I highly recommend Grim. When I stepped into my role at Chinese Laundry, influencer marketing was something that was really leaned into, both on the macro and micro level, because we have these 4 brands, and it's not just Chinese Laundry. We have shoes for every demographic, for every woman or person that wants to wear our shoes. But for example, CL by Laundry is our comfort and wides line. They're really comfortable shoes. I'm reaching out to flight attendants and teachers and mommy bloggers and sectioning it off so that you're really, instead of just like throwing shoes out into the ether hoping somebody's gonna post, I'm really being specific with the brand and the style of the shoe and doing the research on them. And Grim has been a really helpful platform to allow me to do that and have data that I can actually use so that I can track the ROI on the investment.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, we do the same. To get back into Art of War, the third rule is to have your upper ranking officials and your lower ranking officials to all believe in the same strategy and go in the same direction. And I think when you're talking about sample boxes and working with influencers that you're paying money for and influencers that you're not, to have them be a part of the same vision. So figuring out who they are, not just how many followers they have, but are they a good fit for your brand on both sides? And yeah, it's like giving people the ability to post your product on their page is like back in the day not having to pay for a commercial on TV. You know, and you can reach so many people in such a natural way.
Looks like we're going down the line. No two influencer is alike, just like there's no human that's exactly the same with the same type of thing. So the customization and personalization of the type of products that you send your influencers is really key. But I think for us, marketing is just an opportunity to try out things, right? Iterate, reiterate, take a look at what worked, maybe pivot 90 degrees one day, 180 or 3%. It really depends on the campaign and what you're going after. But for us, we realized, we had a larger budget at times, during the holidays, and we tried out a big influencer. And in all honesty, that big ticket with the big name that was all of the right fit for the right brand that we thought was the right time, it didn't provide the return that we thought. And what we have recognized is that consistent micro-influencers, groups of micro-influencers, and growing these really brand ambassadors, these people that love your brand, want to post about your brand. They're like, you're gonna pay me for that too? Oh, cool. And then they get better at it, you get better at it, because the love is there. Because I don't know about y'all, but when somebody's been paid. And when they might like your brand, but they don't know your brand because they don't love your brand like it's theirs. It just kind of those tiers, we just have had experience with those tiers, and we love our micro-influencers. And for us, it is a nurturing of relationships that you develop over time. And for us, connection first, the transaction will follow, and we use that in all aspects of our business.
It feels more genuine, it feels more natural, and they're excited to be part of it. It's
authentic.
Authenticity. Key word.
So we, during COVID, started spending 6 figures a month on paid influencer marketing. It was very scripted, look at the camera, hold the can, here's a discount code, here's a swipe up. It worked really well when everybody was locked up at home, and then I started hating it. It felt extremely transactional and fake. And we launched on TikTok in February of this year, and I started finding creators who were not health and wellness people, who were actually unhealthy food creators who were drinking soda. And I started paying them per video that they would swap a soda out for us. And some of them have earned like thousands of dollars a month from us, and we've hit 400 million views on those videos in 5 months at a sub $1 CPM. And I don't give a script to anyone. I don't give a brief to anyone. I just say, I also try to find people who are already posting about us, and I'll put them on. And we've cut our spend by 80%, and like I feel it's much more efficient and much more organic to me. We don't ever do any discount codes ever anymore.
So there's a lot of talk these days about what's 2023 going to look like, recession, no recession, whatever it might be. How does that information or that lack of information, how does it affect your plans for moving forward? I mean, social media, paid versus non-paid. Any thoughts ahead of time as far as where that's going to lead you guys?
I'll say, whether it's a big R or a little r or a tiny r or something in between, you have to plan, and so budgets may, halfway through the year get adjusted because of the size of the R or not, but it can't rule what you do. In fact, if that becomes the ruler, then you've lost sight of what's really important, which is connection with your customer through your product out into the community. And so we're going to launch some really cool stuff in 2023. We're going to test and learn, and we're going to have a lot of fun while doing it, regardless of the art.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think doing things that are real, finding people who are passionate about your products is really important. We were spending probably like $50,000 a month on each individual platform, and we're trying to focus on being profitable. I feel like that's what everybody's trying to do these days. And what we realized is by spending a lot less, if not even zero, our sales didn't get affected that much, and now we have all the spend that we didn't do. So I think it's about spending smarter, figuring out, take some steps and then figure out what it is. What's that quote about? Don't work harder, just work smarter. I think that's what we're trying to do this year, and I think that's all part of like becoming a profitable business, which I think in this day and age, in this climate, everybody cares so much about that.
Yeah, we're really lucky because in recessions, people don't stop buying shoes, they just buy cheaper shoes. And our price point hits that, so I'm told over the past 50 years, as we've had recessions, that we actually really thrive in them. That being said, what's really important to us as a company and to me as a marketer is to be bringing value. And when you're bringing value, people will still buy your product. They might buy less of your product, but they are still loyal. So I'm just focusing on brand loyalty, building my own like email lists and capture, right? Like treat it like you're dating. You cannot have enough phone numbers. You cannot have enough emails. And so just get those and then deliver content to them that's meaningful, that brings them value, that will then convert and hit them in as many areas as you can. But it has to be value driven or they're just gonna unsubscribe.
I totally agree with that one. I think what you're going to see in 2023 and moving forward is a lot of brands have to do price increases. And so the brands that are providing a lot of value are going to be the ones that I think survive in the upcoming years because the prices are going up, but it doesn't seem like people are making more money. It seems like we're losing money and yet the prices are going up. So what are you going to spend your hard-earned dollars on? You're going to spend it on the products that you love, that provide value, that are really high quality.
I would be lying if I said I wasn't worried. We sell a product that's 2.5 times the cost of a Diet Coke, and we've kind of made a bet as a business that both we're a gut health product and a wellness product kind of tied in one, and I think enough people over the last, especially 2 years, understand how important that is, and it's become went from like a 3rd or 4th rank in their day-to-day to a number 1 rank for a lot of people. And our hope is that people don't trade down to something that's worse for them. And it's on us to keep educating and making the product as readily available and bringing the price down as much as we can. to stay alive.
Awesome. We're getting
I got
close
one
to
more
the
on
end
that.
of the time.
Sorry, one more on that, and I totally agree with what you're saying. It's on us to figure out how we can still make a valuable product and use the same ingredients that made that product valuable in the first place as we're trying to figure out margins, profitability, and price increases. So we deal with that a lot on the ingredient side about figuring out, are we going to start using a lesser ingredient and sacrifice quality and try and keep the price where it is, or are we going to keep our same margins but realize we have to increase the price a little bit, but we don't want to provide anything that we don't love and we're not thinking not the same really. So
Someone told me once that the value you create as a business is the difference between the cost of your goods and what you can sell it for, right? And it's especially on us on all these categories to like educate people about why they're paying for it and why it's worth what they're, because none of us are the cheapest option in the market, and so that value that you create is what brand really is and what culture really is. And
because if you don't, then you become the kind of enemy that you started your company for. You become Coca-Cola. For us, like looking at a Starbucks Frappuccino and realize what we were making at home was better than a Starbucks Frappuccino, which was loaded with sugar, didn't taste like coffee, not organic, and yet we have to compete with them on price to an extent. But we can't go down to them and try and compete with them with the same product. It won't ever work. And we started our company to be the better version of that. So as we move forward in the next couple of years, we're trying to figure out how to keep that value proposition.
It all goes back to the authenticity that you were talking about before. You lose the authenticity, you lose, because you're trying to save $1 here or there, you lose all those fans, you lose the people that are going to be buying your product and telling and spreading the word about it. So we're coming to the end of the time period for us. I like to end all my meetings at the office this way. Tell me your biggest marketing win ever.
I mean, the easy answer, I guess, for us would be we did a banana cream flavor with the Minions for the Minions movie that launched in June. And it was an 11-month project. It had plenty of issues behind the scenes, but it went off without a hitch, and it became like the best animated movie in Universal Studios history. And we were like very much in the zeitgeist around the movie, and every single metric that we look at online was like, organic searches were up 3x month over month, traffic was up, everything was up. And it was just like a cool moment that like I felt put us into like the next echelon of brands. They didn't partner with Coke, they didn't partner with Pepsi, they called us, which was kind of cool.
Anyone hear of hashtag Bama Rush? We were thrilled last year, 2021, to go viral because of this fabulous sorority movement. And it was Bracelet Kendra Scott, Earring Kendra Scott. And what was amazing is our social team was so present to it as it was happening, and we responded very, very quickly. In fact, within hours, we were communicating back to this collective group of sorority ladies going through their journey. And it was that conversation that was so real that took it to the next level and continued the journey. So we just passed the game day / sorority rush universe of 2022, and we participated in it early on. We leaned into, if you will, game day in a way that really took it and truly made it a campaign, and had conversations that really preemptively were kind of seeding the storytelling before it took off. So, you can never plan for a viral moment, but when viral nature happens, you jump on board and you try to maximize it as best as you can. And so luckily, we've done that.
Mark Twain said, the secret to creativity is to hide your primary source. So we were the second people in the country making nitro coffee in New York City. And nobody really knew what nitro coffee was. They thought it was like some sort of gas that makes your motorcycle go faster. They thought that it was the farthest thing from organic as you could possibly get. They didn't understand the taste that it helps with, the creamy taste. They didn't understand that it's a natural preservative. They didn't understand the experience. So we partnered with a company called Juice Press. And Juice Press had over 100 locations in New York City. And at first they wanted to do nitro coffee in a can. And the marketing win was for us to not just private label that with them. We fought to have our logo front and center on that can. And every good deal dies 1,000 deaths. They told us many times that they wouldn't do that, and they could put us on the back or put us on the side or say the ingredients rise. And we fought for our logo on the front. And I think as you're starting something that's new, you want to get it out to as many people as possible. And we also wanted to make sure that as we were getting it out, people saw our logo as well. So 2015, there was not many nitro coffee brands. And because we were able to partner with Juice Press and keep it as a collab can together, then that really helped us introduce nitro coffee to the greater New York market and eventually the country.
That's amazing. Because I've only been at Chinese Laundry since March, we don't have any marketing wins yet, but they are in the works.
Yeah.
Yet. But I will, prior to this, at the beginning of my career, I was working in a marketing agency, and we were trying to figure out how to launch a nail polish brand. And this would have actually been back in like 2012. And I was like, how do we do this? What should we do? So we built an entire community on Twitter, like a digital community around nail art. And built a ton of buzz around it, and then gave manicures in multiple cities just on the street, kind of like person on the street, get your nails done. And built up such a buzz about it that when it did launch, it had record-breaking sales for the company that led to an acquisition. The product itself did have to be recalled because it didn't work. But we did have record-breaking sales in the first week, and it was a huge win. And big fan of guerrilla marketing. I think when you can kind of surprise and delight your customers and you can build community, that's how you can really drive loyalty and sales.
Blame the supply chain team.
That was great. Like, I had so much fun with talking to each of you on here, before here. I'm sure we're going to keep in touch afterwards. Thank you very much for sharing your stories, your marketing advice, your stories. This has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.